Alright, a wonderful good day everybody and welcome back here to my channel God Shadow with Grixis Control. And today I am building upon what I showed last time, a Lurus version of Grixis Control, because it is just a card, like if your opponent's playing Lurus and like such a value engine and is also playing Disruption, then it's really difficult to keep up. And as a control deck, as a deck that is thriving off of its card advantage and off of the fact that you are able to play around what your opponent's doing, just having a card less than your opponent that you cannot interact with, plus the fact that whenever it's coming down, it's definitely also generating at least one turn of additional card advantage through Mishra's Bauble or whatever they get from the graveyard, then yeah, you have to join them, basically. It's a little sad because I just don't like the companion mechanic at all, but, well, anyhow, it's working out quite well. I've had really good results this last week, and as you can see, we're playing 63 cards now. The reason being, like, I went down to 60, I tried different things, but overall I still want to maintain my main deck of 60 cards. And then the Mishra's Bauble, yes, like has half a turn delay on the cards that I draw, but it's actually not hurting consistency at all. It is even helping me. I have a little bit more looks at what and information about what my opponent's doing, about what I'm going to draw, and I still have access to 4 Serum Visions. The reason is, like, I could replace Serum Visions with Mishra's Bauble, but that significantly hurts my Jaces and Snapcasters, and I also just need to know what I'm going to draw off the top and have to manipulate my library to a certain degree. So yeah, very happy with this build. I have not lost a league at all, like meaning that I won at least 60% of my games in each league, which means a 3-2 or better. Yeah, which is pretty good because there's just a lot of stuff going on in the format right now and a wide spread of decks that you have to beat. So in terms of advantages and opponents, this deck is very good against, I would say, 70% of the meta. Everything that is not Omnath Piles, because even with Lurus and Mishra's Bauble and 3 spell bombs in the sideboard, you cannot keep up with their card advantage. It's absolutely impossible, and there is, like, I've tried so many things already. It's not, you just can't. You can run Cling to Dust and hope that it helps you, but that only gets rid of Uro. Then you still cannot get rid of Field of the Dead. Then you would also have to incorporate Field of Ruins, and even then you have to draw it, you have to have it on the battlefield without them blowing it up first with their Field of Ruins. And even like just 2 or 3 turns with Field of the Dead on the battlefield before you draw your Field of Ruin is already too late. So a big problem is big mana that is running Field of the Dead and Omnath Piles that are running Field of the Dead. And there is no, like, Cleansing Wildfire helps a bit, but it's always the turns when it's coming down, right? Even if you hold that in your hand, you cannot prevent it from coming down. You have no way, like, unless you bounce it at some point and discard it with Kolaghan's Command, you have no way of getting rid of these cards from their hand. It's absolutely egregious, and it's also very little skill. Like, Field of the Dead is one of the least skill-intensive cards that are probably in competitive Magic, because you're just like not doing anything, right? You can play a couple of snow-covered lands and just play out your lands, and there's like, it's an inevitable win condition. And that's very sad. That makes me extremely angry and pissed off, because most of the time, like, you're outplaying your opponent by far, and then you're just getting, like, they top deck a Field of the Dead or something that can fetch a Field of the Dead. It's just, just over for you, no matter what you did before. Anyhow, without further ado, no, let's jump to the sideboard very quick. So there are a couple of oddballs in here. Of course, Lurrus is my most expensive card. At some point, I also ran Kozilek as one of. Reason being that Mill is actually quite strong right now, and Kozilek, like, if you really want to beat Mill, I hope I said Mill before. If you really want to beat Mill, that you just jump in with Kozilek, put it in from your sideboard, and there's almost no way that you're losing that matchup anymore. So in modern challenges or whatever, maybe I'm going to play one today. I'm probably going to play one Kozilek just to beat that matchup, like with a single sideboard card. I think that's worth it. And yeah, although I think I can also beat them with my main board itself, but just making it a 100%er with one sideboard card is pretty good. So other than that, as I said, like all these artifacts are really good with Lurrus. Fountain of Renewal is a card, like Collective Brutality is not bad, but in most circumstances it doesn't do a whole lot. Like Burn isn't as common anymore, and against Burn, Brutality is pretty good, although also not backbreaking, because you're wasting a lot of your own resources that you would normally need. Fountain of Renewal, I can play it on turn 1, and then it provides me with incidental card advantage through life gain, basically. And whenever I need to turn the corner, I can still sack it. I can also just sack it to Lurrus and bring it back with Lurrus. So yeah, the Fountain of Renewal is actually a card that I like a lot because it just can keep it on the battlefield. It's really cheap to bring in. Helps me in a lot of matchups. It's also a card that I would potentially board in versus Death Shadow decks that are running Scorch of the Skyclaves. Reason being that they cannot deal with it. Most of the time they're running like one or two Kolaghan's commands, but most of the time it's just something that they have to play around because it either shrinks their Scourge or like makes it unplayable, uncastable, and that is really good. And then in the late game, as I said, like it's basically what I'm trying to do with these cheap artifacts here is invest mana into something that is on the battlefield that my opponent cannot interact with to protect my hand to a certain degree, because in the late game I can just cash it in and draw an additional card that, you know, my opponent could not Thoughtseize before. So I can just utilize it, and yeah, it conceals information. It gives me a little bit of leverage in terms of Skyclave and also value through Lurrus. Then Engineered Explosives, just a really strong card against these decks as well, against a lot of creature decks. So I was playing Damnation for the most part, but Damnation most of the time wasn't relevant enough because like I'm playing so much spot removal and like drawing a Damnation off the top, I cannot really wait for 4 or 5 of my opponent's creatures to hit the battlefield, because on the one hand that's too obvious, and at some point I'm forced to play the Damnation even in a bad spot, and on the other hand, most of the time these creatures have some value by themselves, and therefore I have to kill them early on anyway. And Engineered Explosives, I can replay with Lurrus on 1 or 2 from the bin, and therefore like get rid of Swift Spears, Soulscar Mages, Death Shadows, Skyclaves, you know, Hierarchs, whatever. It's really good, and I also don't blow up Lurrus along the way, so I really like it as a role player, I think. Then there's Nil Spellbomb, self-explanatory. Cleansing Wildfire, I'm not really happy with. I think it's something that I have to play, but I would rather, like, as I said, it doesn't really help me against Field of the Dead, and Field of the Dead is the card I'm losing to. So against all these Titan decks, you know, I would rather have like a Blood Sun or whatever. And I might still put it back in, but Blood Sun is really bad against the Tron decks, and therefore, like, I cannot spend 9 cards on big mana. Yeah, and so Cleansing Wildfire for the time being, I think the card that I'm playing, and then Crater Maker, just because it's good against a lot of decks right now. It's good against creature decks because I can recur it with Lurrus, choose something, kill Vials. Of course, it's really, really good against Eldrazi, just kills everything there. Also can get it back, of course. And like Walking Ballistas and the Ballista Heliod lists, yeah, it's good almost anywhere, and therefore just a really good sideboard card here. Alright, so I think that's it, and let's jump into League. Alright, welcome to round number 1. We are on the play, Show Lurrus, which I've gotten better with, by the way, so I'm not forgetting about it anymore, because I just played with it a bunch. And yeah, we're going to, I mean, depending on what our opponent's doing, of course. I don't want to have the second Jace, I think, but a 4th land source is actually pretty good. And then depending on what my opponent's doing, I'm going to run out the Jace here. Alright, so hopefully no Amloth pile. Crashing Footfalls. Oh shit. Alright, so Footfalls means that I'm running into another version of Oops All Spells. So this is the As Foretold Footfalls Electrobalance version. So since I don't have a play right now, I think I'm still just going to jam the Jace and hope that I'm not dead here. Dead meaning that I'm running into a turn 2 Electrobalance into Alright, yeah. Something's coming. Could be an As Foretold here, but I couldn't have prevented it anyway. Alright, so now I don't actually know what's going on anymore. Why is he playing Brazen Borer? No clue. So I'm a little confused here as to what our opponent's actually playing. I think because he also didn't fetch for a red source here, which means right now without a Summon Spirit Guide he cannot play Electrobalance. Alright, yeah, good. Okay. So it is an As Foretold deck. It's all good. It's all correct, I should say. Alright, so this one here, they don't have flash when they come in, right? So another Jace. That's really odd. So one turn to find a counter spell here for the Crashing Footfalls, or alternatively, Fatal Push would also be pretty good. I don't have a problem with Brazen Borer. Another Crashing Footfalls. Alright. So actually, it's not that bad. Like, they don't have haste next turn. I can have a look. I can take a look here, kill the Brazen Borer, then take one of their creatures next turn. So I'm gonna go here, have a look at what's going on. Yeah, that's what I thought. So force negation is going to be problematic for him. Restore balance as well. I mean, we have to be a little bit careful with the amount of lands that we play. But in terms of creatures, we will likely have less than he does. So I need to take the Finally of Promise here, because otherwise he just can. Or does he need 2 targets? He may cast up to 1 target instant card and up to 1 target card. Alright, so he could just double what he does have there. So I will keep the Water Grave in my hands to not lose too many lands along the way. Interesting. Alright, so he's keeping up the force. Which means what I would typically like to do here is actually go with the Snapcaster, make him discard the force negation, or make him just use the force, and then flipping the Jace, getting a Rhino with the Archmage's Charm. That does leave me open to restore balance though. Because if he play or is able to play that before yeah, I think I have to make that play. Snapcaster Mage on Inquisition using the Blood Crypt, and then I have to play out the Water Grave. I still have Lurrus backup, but as I said, like, really problematic is my lands as soon as he casts Restore Balance. Doesn't have a greater Gargadon yet, but I will need to provide myself with counter spells to stop that Restore Balance at some point. Alright. So we got 2 more turns on that Rhino spell there. Let's see what this brings. So Restore Balance doesn't hit Planeswalkers, it's too old a card. Lol, he just conceded. That is surprising, actually. Yeah, so it doesn't affect Planeswalkers, therefore that's actually pretty good. So what do I want to have? So I want to have Spell Bombs because of the thing there. Lightning Bolt's actually super bad here. Don't want to have that. Then I don't have a good way of getting rid of the Asphodel, but the only way I have is actually Engineered Explosive, which is also great against the faults. Therefore, I think I'm just going to do this and trim 1 Mishra's Bauble. As I said before, like, I can hide a couple of my cards in my artifacts, which is pretty good. But I think I'm good though. this way. I need to have the removal also for the... Like, I can't trim the terminates because of the Greater Gargadon. And yeah, I think this is a keep. We have turn 1 Spellbomb, which isn't awesome, but if we're gonna be hit by an early footfalls, then we can at least get rid of one of them. Alright, so Leyline, while it's really good against us, it takes away another card from his hand, so he's on a mulligan to 5 basically. And if I can get to the point where... So I'm gonna bottom this, put this on top, play this, have a look. Well, alright, can't target him. Have a look at myself. Doesn't matter because I draw the other card anyways, and I could have, of course, delayed it for half a turn, but I don't think there's much use in that. Alright, cool. So the positive thing here is that whatever he does, he needs to keep up counter magic as well, because it can, like, even with just strong law, I can't counter basically anything. Yeah, I also cannot target him with nil Spellbomb. That is actually a bummer. Okay. He's not doing anything, which is quite surprising. And that's certainly not great. So bringing in nil Spellbomb. Yes, we cannot target him yet. Need to get rid of the Leyline first. Alright, so here it comes with counter magic backup. Yeah. I expected as much, but as I said, like, can't really do anything about it. These two, and then this and this. I could also go with 3, but I think, yeah, I think this is enough. He's got a counterspell anyway, I don't need to waste all my resources. And he's got more lands out. Oh. Interesting. Alright, so now we have 4 mana for the Cryptic. So if I'm able, like if he doesn't have a counterspell, and if I'm able to bounce the Leyline, there's Greater Gargadon, alright. So now I actually have to play around Electro Balance. And I think until next turn I'm gonna keep the Mountain in hand. I mean, he can sacrifice everything anyway, so it's not super relevant for me. But we shall see. Because that's always the worst case scenario, right? Like him sacrificing just everything. Okay, so he's 2 cards in hand. And he like suspended all his cards. So I assume that there's no outlet for him to actually utilize it with. It's possible that he has a counterspell or whatever. Alright, that's actually really good, really good, really good. Okay, so I think I'm gonna go Mountain here, have a look. Because he can never replay that. Yeah, I think he conceded again. He can never replay the Leyline. Alright, GG's. Alright, welcome to round number 2. I hope that I pressed the right button. Hands slow but keepable, I think. Oh no. Alright. Okay, I see. So my opponent's actually playing Prison. Mono white Prison, I think. and that is okay in the sense that something's lagging here, like big time. That's okay in the sense that it's not boggled. Because I was like, oh no, leyline main board must be boggled. But yeah, this is actually alright with me. Now they're playing Solemnity and all that jazz. So my game plan right now is to bring down the Jace. He doesn't have or didn't have a turn 2 play here. I'm trying to fetch as much as possible in the early game, not only to thin out my deck, but also because they're playing Detention's Field or whatever. So the card that actually makes all my activated abilities cost 2 more. And therefore, like, I don't want to be caught off with my pants off, basically. So there's probably going to be Solemnity or whatever. And as long as there's no card that protects all of his... Oh. Well, alright. Yep, that is bad to a certain degree. So I want to counter the Lotus Bloom here. We need to make it to a Cryptic Command at some point. And like his big payoff cards need a lot of mana, either through a Nyktos or it's probably Solemnity or the other one. Yeah. Which is fine. So I cannot target my opponent again. So let's just see what we're gonna draw. Cryptic Command, perfect. Alright, cool. Yeah, that's the combo here. So, generally speaking, I could go with a lot of directions here, but I'm trying to get my Jace back to then... he failed. This was actually not well played by my opponent, because now I have a lot of options here. So I'm gonna play this, ditch this, play this, return this, because he cannot replay it next turn, because he missed the land drop there. And then we are gonna take the Phyrexian Life. Alright. Oh no, we countered the Phyrexian Life. But this card I meant, like Radar Ormancy is really problematic for us because of the hexproof, and then I can't bounce stuff anymore. But as long as that's not on the battlefield, and we all golden. Alright, so this is gonna be great here. Oh man, I love Engineered Explosives. I wanted to play it before, but it always felt like it had a lot of dis-synergy with the rest of the deck. And so now I'm really happy that I can do it. So I have to trim these because there's just no creature. I think I could go with Goblin Crater Maker. So there's also... yeah, I'm gonna cut these two. Just dead cards. A little bit more cycling, and this one also just to cycle. Because I cannot target my opponent with the nil spell bombs anyway. So I think this is actually the best I can do. And these types of matchups, right, are like, this deck is so strong in the current meta. Oh my goodness, what the fuck is this? Because the game plan he just executed there would have been impossible to penetrate for a certain amount of decks, right? So anything Death Shadow would not have been able. Actually, I think he would have had his whole combo assembled on turn 4. And you wouldn't have been able, like without a Cryptic Command, you wouldn't have been able to interact in terms of Discord magic. So Yeah, we were definitely mulliganing this. Alright. So I'm gonna get rid of the K command here. And he's gonna start with at least one ley line again. And a Lotus Bloom as well. Alright. Yeah, so just a lot of decks would have just lost here by turn 4. Would have probably played on to a miserable degree, but yeah. And that's also, like, I kind of like having these prison style decks in the format. Like, because it's hating out a specific subset of decks, like very aggressive, very... Yeah, this is what I meant. Suppression Field, that's what I meant. So, Suppression Field actually makes a lot of my cards really, really bad. So, Jace is not as good anymore. And I need to have, like, mana out first before I can do anything. Therefore, yeah. And I think it doesn't affect the Lotus Bloom because this is a mana ability. So that's that. Actually, I might be building it myself. I do have it actually. Because I played it before a couple of, I don't know how long ago, but alright, so as long as my opponent's not doing stuff, I'm good. And I need to try to get my fetch lands, like convert them into mana. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 white Pegasus creature token with flying. Alright, so I think that's okay. I mean, I could counter this, then he would have to sack the Lotus Bloom, which means I'm still trading him 1-for-1, but I wouldn't be able to go with the Cryptic Command next turn, therefore I'm just gonna let this resolve, I think. If he wants to crack to play something else, that's fine. And then, so I'm gonna pay here and pay 2. Is this dude annoying? Yes, it fucking is. But as soon as, like, I can bounce it, I can still also kill it with my okay, yeah, I cannot let that resolve actually. And I want to bounce the Archon here because either he cannot replay it or he has to sack the Lotus Bloom there, which I'm also fine with. So I'm not sure what my opponent's contemplating here right now. Yeah, alright, so just replaying the Archon. Which is okay. Alright, yeah. That's actually okay. So depending on what he plays, I can counter it with my Logic Knot. I think they're playing Summon Spirit Guides as well, therefore I have to be a little bit careful. Yep, get in your hit. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go and counter return again. to then set up a turn next turn where I can just counter stuff. Counter a draw card, then we have a lot of mana actually already. Oh, well, it just produces 3 right now, so that's fine. So let's go with, actually tap this, go with this. Grab a Mystic Sanctuary to get back a Cryptic Command. And then Logic Knot the shit out of it. So this was a little bit much, but I'm doing it on purpose because I want to have the Jace as a draw outlet here. Like these types of matchups are where my Jace, especially because my activated abilities cost 2 more, so a Cryptic Command flashback would cost 6, etc. Where just like end of turn, making my hand a little better is just superior. Okay, GG's. Welcome to round number 3 here. After 2 pretty quick first rounds, we're gonna keep. So what I'm gonna do first, so typically I would like to target myself here in order to know if I want to fetch or not. But as Terminate is my, yeah, alright. So Swift Spear on top. Probably means I just want to go ahead here. I cannot even play it on turn 2. That's really bad. I can only play it on turn 3. Unless I draw something. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with a Blood Crypt here. Just to make myself open for any black source, any red source, and okay. And also Lightning Bolt plus. Shit. Yeah, that's really bad. So Swift Spear is coming down now. It's like we'll play a multitude of removal spells, but like drawing a land and a Jace here instead is of course not the best thing in the world. So this is a prowess deck. Generally speaking, like our engineered explosives are good, fountains of renewal are good, and the golden crater makers are only okay if we really want to do something. So I'm gonna trade here, 1 life for 1 life. I assume that there is a light up the stage that he wants to cast post board. Sprite Dragon. Also, like that's the main problem here, is that our opponent can overload us on the battlefield if we cannot keep up with our removal spells in the early game. So he's gonna cast the Sprite Dragon and probably 1 removal spell. The good thing is that yeah, so do I block? No, right? Because if a removal spell is probably 3 mana Lightning Bolt. 3 life, I mean. Or it could alternatively also be a Lavadord, but I'm not gonna block. Because should my Jace survive here, he didn't even play anything. Lol, okay. So the Jace, unless he bolts the Jace beforehand, is a safe block. Alternatively, I could of course also just go with but I want to terminate the Sprite Dragon here. I really want to go after that because it also outgrows the Colorgun's command. Like if he taps out here. But let's say I were to, let's see what he does. Maybe he also diverts a couple of his resources towards the Jace. Okay. Let's see. Then this might actually be the best course of action. Like if I go with the Inquisition right now and then kill a Sprite Dragon, I could also do that next turn, of course. Like I have still the same amount of stuff up next turn. So block 1, kill 1, shrink 1. Yeah, I think because just killing 1 right now, but no, because this way I cannot play around a Lavador. Okay, a gut shot. Interesting. So it's actually good that I did it this way. So I play a discard card and 2 damage. And I think I'm gonna go after a Monastery Swiftspear here. Only has 2 spells in the graveyard, therefore the Bellamarilla is still a little off. Metamorphose, nah, of course. Of course, the best card off the top here. Like both for the Bedlam Reveler and for the creatures that are on the battlefield. So let's see if he's gonna go after my Jace here. That would be interesting to see. Because I don't really mind that. Him diverting, resources to my Jace. Protects my life total to a certain degree. He cannot post-board go with Light Up the Stage. Because I haven't lost any life yet. And 1, 2, 3. Unless he like next turn has quite the insane turn. I'm with Shams actually. I was gonna say right now that I need to have a certain amount of counterspell here to go against the Bedlam Reveler. So I'm gonna go on him again, play the Mystic Sanctuary, and pass the turn, kill the Sprite Dragon, and block the Monastery Swiftspear. Alright, good. So this means that there is in fact no Bedlam Reveler coming this turn. Next turn is quite different, but we shall see. So obviously you would want to go with a Swift Spear here, and then next turn go with a... Alright, I see. Yeah, makes sense. He's using a lot of resources on the Jace, which is just really, really good for us. Because it takes out one. Right, so almost misclicked here. So I don't care about the Swift Spear right now, therefore I'm not going to even block. As long as he diverts resources to my Jace, that's fine. If he doesn't have another God Shot here, my Jace survives anyway, and I can do it all over again. So there's another creature. So next turn I also have access to Lurrus if I want to. I'm gonna keep the Snapcaster Mage back here, I think. We're also still at 15 life, so the most important objective here is to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he's probably gonna go with a Bedlam Reveler here, I would assume. Maybe not. Maybe he has a 1-mana spell, maybe post board. Yeah, I'm gonna block. Because again, like, even if he has a Lavador here, or Mutagenic Growth, he spent like 4 cards plus multiple attack steps on that Jace, which is fine. He's completely out of everything now. We get to counter the Bedlam Reveler and... Oops. And then play the Lurrus. Unless we draw something else that's good. So I could just play the Lurrus here, of course. But that would also open me up to a lot of things. So maybe just waiting one turn for the Snapcaster Mage to also be a factor might be better. On the other hand though, like if my Lurrus survives and he doesn't draw something relevant off the top, even if he does draw something irrelevant off the top, I just receive 4 damage, draw a card. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go start off with Serum Visions here. If I draw a land, I can still go with Lurrus. Okay, this is both really bad. Okay, so this on top, this tapped, Lurrus in hand. And then next turn, I have Lurrus plus protection. And, well, I still have enough life here to play around with it a little. Alright, so let's go with the Lurrus. And I think to be as mana efficient as possible, I'm also going to go with the Jace. Nope. The other Jays don't care. 5, yeah, that's fine. Yep, I think he just gave up. Alright. Alright, so it was the correct way there that we played it, so I liked it a lot. So let's see. So we need to have all of our removal spells. We also need to be careful of a Blood Moon, because that's probably coming in. So I want to have these. There's no Eidolon of the Great Revel, therefore I'm not going to take out the Mishra's Baubles necessarily. But I could see myself taking out a couple of Serum Visions because it's pretty slow. Jace also dies to most things, but as I said before, it just takes a lot of the resources of our opponent. So this, and I think the spell bombs as well, and then I can just cut a couple of these. One of these because I have enough stuff elsewhere, and I can also cut one of these. Then what's left is a lot of removal spells and a lot of flexibility. And we only need like one island, one swamp to be able to blow up a Blood Moon, which is pretty neat. So the hand itself is not bad, right? But I have to mulligan because, like, if that would have been there any other land, would have probably been okay. So I'm gonna cut that and try to go for a turn. Like, we have had also awful hands here. Like, these two hands were absolutely like really bad. Okay, so this has to be an island anyway. So I'm gonna go with the Spellbomb here right now. Because the goal is, of course, to keep him off of Bedlam Reveler in the late game. Alright. Yeah. I'm almost certain that I'm running into a counterspell here. Could be mistaken, of course. Alright, yeah, he did have two counterspells, but just the wrong ones. And it's really, like, gotta say, Right, welcome to round number 4. We're 3-0, so pretty good, and I think I'm going to keep this. Oh no. Oh no, that's not good for us. So this time I'm going to bubble myself in order to find out on whether or not I want to have the card. Cards that I want to draw do not include Creeping Tar Pit. So yeah, our opponent could be Eldrazi Tron and therefore like play Chalice on turn 2 even with an Expedition map out. So it's not necessarily given that I don't want to shock here, but I think it's still just to get rid of my Lightning Bolt, of course. Yeah, but it's still alright, I think. Alright, so it's Green Tron, against which at least the Cleansing Wildfires are pretty good. And he also won't have a turn 3 Tron as it appears, but a turn 4 Tron, which means at that point my Augmate Shum is going to be up. That is really hurtful though. That is really, really hurtful. Pooh, yeah. So it's going to be a Water Grave here. And then we shall have to see. Like, it's been a while since I played against Tron in Modern, because Tron just gets wrecked by so many decks right now. Nonetheless, it still is a good deck and will always be a part of Modern, I think. Interesting here by my opponent, like the way he played it. I don't know exactly what he was playing around. So as long as the Relic of Progenitus is on the battlefield, my Drown Loch is pretty dead. Second Augmate Shum is good. I was thinking about cracking it here, I think. Alright, Core liberated. Oh no. Let's see. Yeah, if this is not Ulamog, of course, then the jig's up. Could also be a Walking Ballista, but yeah. Ulamog is not a card that we beat. So now, like, of course I would have liked to go after the Relic there, but yeah, now I'm missing a little bit. So I'm just gonna do it here. Go with a Drown Loch. It's not perfect by a mile, and I probably have to go with Blood Crypt here just to like facilitate my red cards as well. Yeah, he's cracking in response, which makes sense. Looking at our sideboard, these 6 cards are good. And I'll probably have to take out all my removal spells. Chromatic Star. Well, that's not the best card to draw here. Weirdly enough, we're still kind of in the game. Like, not by a lot, but still a little. Because, of course, our two really bad removal spells here line up. Well, not great, but alright against the Wurmcoil Engine. And it all depends on whether or not he does have another threat here. Another Wurmcoil Engine, alright. So we can get rid of these two. And with a Snapcaster, like if we have real good draws here off the top from now on, like Snapcaster into Cryptic Command, then we still have a chance. Nonetheless, though, it's not looking good. And of course, anything off the top still just gets us. Alright, so that makes Snapcaster Mage not a good draw anymore. And now I just want to have Cryptics. Well, I guess there's a Cryptic. And I think I could have even topped the Scalding Torrent for the sake of a Mystic Sanctuary draw. But, of course, that will leave me one turn, like vulnerable one turn, and that turn's probably my death sentence, because I have to bounce it pre-combat in order to even survive. Alright. That is not gonna work out. So out, 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 out. In. And I'm gonna cut one bolt. Yeah, obviously not the greatest matchup. It's not built to beat Tron right now, but we still have a decent shot, I think. But our opponent, of course, like built the Tron deck in order to beat the meta, which means lots of Graveyard Hate and Relic of Progenitus, lots of Wurmcoil Engines, and all of that is also good against us. So, we shall see. We don't know if he's running Karn, the Great Creator, and a sideboard package that facilitates that, or a lot of Veils of Summer, etc. Therefore, I mean, whenever possible, I'm going to play around a Veil of Summer, but if I don't have a lot of options, then we're just going to counter. But I strongly assume that our opponent's bringing in Veil of Summers. No. Alright, so we can keep this. I'm going to ditch the Snapcaster Mage here. Our opponent's, well, it doesn't really matter if he mulligans or not. For him, only turn 3 Tron matters. Alright. I would say this is a weird hand. Especially because we can counter like one of the Sylvan Scryings turn 2. So now I can play the Jace on my next turn to just dig into my library to find more. Well, Crater Maker isn't bad necessarily, but it's also not super great here. As long as I don't find the Cleansing Wildfire as well. Well, let's see what my opponent does. How far off of Tron he is. Because that was not a good keep. Like, whatever he did there, like, that was not a good keep. I guess 2 Sylvan Scryings is still a turn 3 Tron. Turn 4. Expedition map, okay. So if we draw a land here, that would be really good. Oh, he does have... Alright, so now he actually has everything. Not the right land. Come on. No! Fuck. Damn it. 3 Crater Makers and no Cleansing Wildfire. Damn it. Yeah, super lucky here, like, for my opponent. Any untapped land source, and we only play, like, the 2 tar pits. Any untapped land source here would have been good. And now he's probably also playing a Thragtusk or something like that. Okay. So once more, just bagging for a land. Okay. So our little Goblin Crater Maker is coming in. Oh man, had we drawn this the other way around, we would be so good right now. Yeah, I don't care. This is... I mean, if he's also drawn a Veil of Summer here, in addition to all the other stuff, then that's just that. Like, we can't do anything about it. Then our opponent really had it all. Okay. Yeah, I would be thinking about, like, cracking the relics right now. Okay, let's see. So I'm looking for counter spells. Well, it is a counter spell, I guess. Though I cannot play it. So I could go and force my opponent to crack the Relic of Forgotten Touch right now. Like returning a Crater Maker and making him discard. It's not the greatest, but I also can't prevent it. Like, he will probably do it at the end of turn anyway. This way I get another land drop out of it, although I'll have to discard a card, which is probably the Drownenloch. No, I'm staying open here. Alright, so Karn actually isn't a big deal because of the Crater Maker, so yeah, have at it. Probably go after my Steam Vents, right? So if he's going after my Steam Vents, then I'm gonna flip the Jace in response. Now if he just ticks up, I couldn't care less. That would just be a plain mistake, yeah. Alright, so now I think I'm gonna go flip my Jace. Try to flip my Jace. Yeah, he's responding with the... Maybe I should have done that in response to the Karn. That would have, of course... But the Karn, as I said, isn't super important to me right now. So this... Getting the Crater Maker back. And the land of the top. I ditched the Drawn Loch. Play the other Goblin Crater Maker. Lol. Okay. I have mixed feelings about that. Like him discarding Ugin the Spirit Dragon is actually pretty insane. This one, yeah. So let's see. I want to just have a look at what I'm going to draw. Another land. One, two, three. Like he's one off of an Ugin. Like what could he have? What else could he have? And what's happening right now? Am I still recording? Yeah, okay. So kind of want to protect my Cryptic as well, though. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with the island here. And then we're gonna go with this. Like, engine, alright, yeah. That's fine. And I suspected it to be a Wurmcoil. Okay. So getting rid of this. And I think I'm just gonna take a hit off the Wurmcoil engine. And don't mind it too much. I could of course also just block, sack it. He doesn't get anything, but I think I want to have more options this turn. This is... What the fuck, dude? What the fuck did he draw? Like the worst hand in the world and then drew into not only fucking Tron, but also like 4 threats in a row, motherfucker. Fuck. Yeah, I need to return my black source, otherwise I can't do a whole lot anymore. Fucking Trump player. Yeah, this is the biggest joke I've ever seen. The biggest fucking joke in my life. Fuck you. Fucking retard. Alright, welcome to the last round here for today. We are gonna keep our opponents on Gigantha, which means it's either Niv Mizzet or the new, like, mono red. Alright, so in this case it's mono red. Fireball and light up the stage. I think I'm just gonna fetch this for blue and then counter the light up the stage potentially. Because it looks like he's looking for something, like... And if he is indeed looking for something, then this is the correct play. That's so weirdly played. Why wouldn't you play the Monastery Swift Spear beforehand? But anyhow. Kill that, play this, pass turn. What? Question is, do we have another land? Or do you want to kill my Jace? Can you kill my Jace? Neither nor. That is great. Alright, Serum Visions. Yep, I want to have both of those. I didn't do that correctly. I should have done this differently. Oh, maybe not. Maybe I did it correctly. Alright, so I'm gonna ditch one Torpid here. Play the other one. Serum Visions. Pretty decent. And go with that. Alright, no, all good. I played it perfectly. Another Abbot of Karakeep, my goodness. So much value. 3 Abbots in a row. And again, like, my Jace is just here as a roadblock. I don't really... Whoops. But I will start with this. And this. Get Malurus. And then, yeah, he will have to attack the Jace because otherwise his clock is so slow. And if it dies, it dies. I get it back with Malurus, which is neat. And of course I can protect Malurus as well. Oh, he's still attacking me for some reason. Yeah, I'm gonna counter this. Yeah, I'm gonna counter this. So if he cracks the island, that means he cannot grab the Gigantha. And that puts him really far away from everything. Hey, he's just going at me. Which means I might be able to actually protect my Lurus. Or not. So I do doubt that the last card in his hand is actually something relevant. But I also cannot risk it, right? I'm still at 9 life. I think protecting the Lurus here has priority. Just need to counter whatever he has in hand. Yeah. Exactly this. Because this is 3, 4, 5, so I'm all good. Don't think I've overseen anything, no. Yeah, so we're going down to 3, but then back up to 6, plus a removal spell, plus the Jace, plus a Torpid if I really want to. And I don't even care, like, if he does have a burn spell or something and wants to kill me, now you can have that. There is no Lava Dort in the bin, which means just going after that here. Becomes the target of a spell, yep. Not often. That is also fucking good. So, since I'm gonna gain the 3 life back anyway, I think I'm just gonna go ahead here. Oh, that's actually amazing. Oh, it's a lightning bolt off the top. Alright. So, I'm gonna go with a fail push to kill the Bone Crusher Giant, which puts me down back to 4. But then I get back up to 7. And I will try to protect my Lurus. Acquisition, not super great, not super bad. Yeah. He has to go after my Lurus. Like, there's no way around it. Yeah. And I'm probably going to be inclined to go with a Logic Knot here over the Drowning Loch. Just because the Drowning Loch is a little more versatile. And I'm also going to, yeah, let's go up to 3. Fine. So of course I don't get to block the Monstrous Whisper here, but I don't care. So let's see what he's going to draw next. Because now we're in a spot, I mean our Inquisitions aren't super great here. My goodness, another Lightning Bolt. Well, that's really annoying. Like, that is super annoying. Blitzacle Weird isn't gonna do anything. And I can at least block the Monastery Swiftspirit dead, which means I have the Jace next turn still. But that is his... Well, that is actually pretty lucky. Unless we draw a counterspell off the top, of course. Alright. There we are. Also interesting attack. I was like, I'm gonna block that Blizzago weird ban. Yeah. And I think now we're in a position, like, I get my Snapcaster Mage back. Did I do the right thing? Yeah. Where I win. Yeah. I think my opponent just realized that. Still recording? Yeah, good. So this. So I think I want to have the Crater Makers here. They provide me with a certain amount of value. Counter spells are not bad, especially of course with Allurus. On the other hand, all of its threats are 1 and 2 mana. Therefore, I almost never get into a spot where my counter spells are really good. So I think I'm going to go with this. As my opponent's not playing Battle of Marevilla, as you can tell from the Gigantha in his sideboard, I don't have to hate out the graveyard as much. But it is possible that he's playing Seasoned Pyromancer. Well, hand's great, except for the lack of lands. My goodness. That's awful. So what do I do if I don't draw another land here? So mulligan to 5. Awesome. So I do want to have 2 black sources. So this one's gone, and I think then this one. Because the only important thing to me is right now 2 black sources. Don't care about much else. And this is something that we have observed now in a couple of matchups, but that our opponents are going super hard on the Graveyard Hate plan due to Lurus, which of course hurts us, but it's still kind of okay. Now, I shouldn't have done this right now. Should have waited until his turn so that he cannot relic me both times. Need to grab something to eat. By the way, I moved to my new place. I now have perfect internet and very calm environment. Therefore, yeah, I'm gonna be able to put out more videos again in the next coming time. So the yeah, I think I'm gonna keep that. The goal is to force him to use the relic, of course, Best case scenario on one off. Like the drone lock. So that I at some point can utilize not only my Snapcaster, but more importantly my lures. I am somewhat inclined to start fetching for basics here. On the other hand though, I don't even have anything with double blue in the deck anymore, and therefore, yeah, probably couldn't care less. So this, and then we're gonna get the lures. Alright, there's the Blood Moon. So, Blood Moon, of course, not great. But that's why I discarded all of that stuff. Yeah, Giganta is going to be a problem when it comes down. There's a mountain and a Soulscar Mage. Yep. So I think the boarding plan is correct. If we draw a Terminate or a K command, that would be pretty decent. Otherwise, the Giganta is going to be problematic. Yeah. This is fine, because as long as Giganta is not coming down, like, it's a win for us. Kind of want to have both. So he's playing the Giganta next turn, therefore I'm gonna go with Bow top. Then Inquisition him. Bolt me again, alright. Alright, that leaves him with Gigantha, and that means, like, he's gonna play it this turn, then he's gonna attack, and he needs to have a removal off the top to protect his Gigantha, because otherwise I'm gonna block and bolt him. And the mana is completely irrelevant. Oh, that's aggressive. That is aggressive indeed. Also, like, the sequencing here. Like, you could just attack and see what happens, but this was just a sequencing fail. So know that my Jace is off the top, and I have to get lucky here in the terms that my opponent doesn't draw, something that kills me. because I need the draw. Like I just need it. Okay. But I think like from a sideboarding perspective, that's absolutely correct what I did. The only thing that I could see myself doing here as well. Actually, let me get one more of these in. Yeah, maybe one of those out. One of those out and Cleansing Wildfire, and just in case I want to like fix my mana that way. Of course, I didn't play around the Blood Moon that strongly last turn because we had a look at his hand, there wasn't anything, and I couldn't be sure that it actually would have been in there. So we're gonna keep this, ditch this one, bobble ourselves. Steam Vents don't want to have it, or I do want to have it, but not in that way. So just gonna draw a card now. This is gonna be, so I fetched that for Steam Vents, so this is gonna be a black source. And we still have Cleansing Wildfire to fix other stuff, so just in case something happens, it's all good. Yeah. So don't think that my opponent can do anything here in regards to protecting the Monastery Sphere, therefore I'm just gonna keep mana open, see what he does. And then if there's not another threat coming, but he has to do something like, yeah, like that to facilitate a light up the stage. That's actually really good. Like just from a perspective of card advantage. Like the Flame Sash just dead. Yeah, and that's perfect as well. Alright, so what we're gonna do is actually Wildfire this for a second black source. Drawing more lands. That is not fortunate, but it's okay. So good thing now is that we're all set in terms of mana, but our opponent does have a couple of more, has to have more Blood Moons in his deck. So part of me, of course, wants to kill that Monastery Sphere right away. On the other hand, though, I also need to kill the Gigantha. So I think getting a little bit of value right now is actually more important. Every time I bobble him, it's a lightning bolt off the top. Alright, yeah. So it's still correct here, I think. My Lord is going to die, of course. But he's going to have to do something anyway. And this means that he even has to like play 2 things, which is fine. Like I get 3 life. He is playing it somewhat weirdly, and now we're just looking to find Kolaghan's commands. All this. So let me see. Yeah, this is fine actually. So I'm gonna leave it to his turn to do something. with the Lava Dart. Like if he wants to consider utilizing the Lava Dart to get extra damage with Monastery Swift Spear, which he does, which I like. Because on my turn he wouldn't have done it, right? Because that would have just been 1 damage. But now he does it, which might slow down the clock here. Yeah, that's also good. Okay. So 1 Gigantha, 1 random other card. And we're just looking to find Kolaghan's commands at this point. Snapcaster Mage is okay as well, but mainly Kolaghan's commands. I just want to have... That's good. So this and this to imitate or bluff a counterspell. Okay. Does have another removal spell as well. Oh, it's a Wretched Bomb. Oh, that's perfect, man. Because that gives me at least one turn, 2 turns. That's pretty good. But we are drawing a fucking ton of everything but like cards that actually help us. So yeah. I'm just gonna go ahead here. Go ahead and Fatal Push it. As Fatal Push is actually my worst card, like with him being almost out of things to do. Fatal Push is bad against the 3 mana spells like Bone Crush Giant, etc. We cannot have too many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 of our first 14, 15 cards. 25, sorry. That's like 50%. Yeah, that's fine. There's a Bone Crusher Giant, alright. So I guess the Bone Crusher Giant, yeah, is going after that thing. Which is also okay. Because I want to, counter it anyway. I mean, it's obviously not bad to draw a Jace here, but I have to wait a turn at least. But we're drawing so badly here. Like, where are my Snapcasters? Where's all that jazz? All the good cards in my deck. And the Relic, oh my goodness. Now, what? So I guess, I mean, it's the worst timing ever that I draw the Snapcaster Rage right now. On the other hand, though, I at least get... Do I want to have the Bolt? Probably get a little more value out of Snapcaster down the road. Like, the 3 life don't really matter, and it's fine. Okay. So also, a lot of nothing here. Dude, it's oh my fucking god! What the fuck is going on? Hey, what the fuck? 2 more lands, so 17. That's just fucking insane, man. I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter. It's a mountain anyway, but... So just want to point out how many good draws there are in our deck. This is one of them. Whoops. Because as long as we're in this stalemate situation, it just provides me with life. Gotta be a little bit careful though, because I really only have my Snapcaster Mages as win conditions. But each time we go to our turn, it's basically half. Either a Monastery Swift Spearhead or half a Lavador. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's why I didn't do it in combat. Well, he's due to like drawing multiple Blood Moons at some point. And I somehow have to get my Snapcaster Mages to win this. There's just no other way for me. That is already pretty bad again. Alright, so I think for the sake of... So Mishra's Bubble to the bottom is what I want here. Put on top. So that I can take the 2 damage next turn. And then play Snapcaster Mage. Okay, so let's have a look first. Firebolt, and it is a sorcery. Boy, but it's insane. Like, where are our Kolaghan's commands? Okay, gotcha. So I cannot really. Should I do this? Oh, damn it. No. I need the life of the fountain. I know what I'm drawing during the next couple of turns, therefore I think it's fine. This is also just really not good for us. Didn't flashback the lovable on the 5-volt, which I would have expected him to do. Alright, so as this is a sorcery, he cannot really interact with me right now. So I'm gonna go return and this one. Which is good. There's also one more Fountain of Renewal. I mean, you know, it's good. It's incidental life gain. Decent enough. He's not doing anything here, which is interesting. I think he is supposed to utilize his mana here, but anyhow. So I'm gonna go place snap. And return and deal 2 damage. So I think, yeah, that's what I thought. Now that I know that he did this, I'm gonna go draw step, return and discard. That's a good hit. I mean, I could have hit it with the K command anyway, but still good hit. Okay. I mean, all of this is very incidental value, right? But with each turn that we're getting through here, we are getting ahead. Each time we're going, you know, return something, discard something, we are indeed getting ahead. And also hitting quite important stuff here. Okay, so he's keeping it up for the Jace, which I think I understand. But it's just gonna come back. Like, it's gonna continue to come back. We still have 24 cards in our deck, but we won't have more color guns come on. So these 3 Snapcaster Mages actually have to get there. Another... fuck. That's quite annoying. Not gonna lie, not gonna lie, not gonna lie. So draw step. Yeah, I'm gonna return both anyway, yeah. Oops. Good hit. Very, very decent hit. Did we angle? Yeah, 2 Lightning Bolts are already gone. So that's that as well. So this one, K command, return and 2 damage. No spell bomb would be pretty good off the top here, but I'm not gonna complain about drawing Loch. I really have to say, like, really not complaining about that. And if he wants to kill my, like, how many Jaces are already gone? There's 1 more Jace in our deck. So if he wants to firebolt the Jace again, then I'm just gonna let it resolve. Now we're just going for the kill. Yeah, exactly because of that. Boop, boop, boop. So now I actually do have a decent spot. Like, most of his Lava Darts are gone, if not all, I think. think I'm going to keep this for a little bit until we really need the Creeping Tar Pit. But of course, it's just phenomenal here, like freeing the Creeping Tar Pit. Just really good. Yeah, I smell these kinds of things. Counter draw. And we're up to 14 live as well, so 15 now, which is pretty good. One, two, three. Boom. So I have lethal multiple ways. Yeah. GG's. So we are gonna go with this. And then play the snap. And then it's GG. Oh shit. I completely forgot about that. He also has fiery outlets. Shit. Alright, so first and foremost, I need to have a look at what he's got. Soul Scum Mage. Alright. I think we're done. Alright, pretty long match here for the last game, but overall a 4-1, lost to Tron on a very, very lucky opponent's draw. But overall, yeah, very happy with the league. We beat a wide variety of decks. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see each other next time.